Your gifts are incredibly important. There's a reason why you have been called to create a business. It's because you're here to grow, you're here to evolve, and ultimately you are here to be supported. Hello and welcome back to Remember Why You're Here, a podcast for seekers and sensitives where you can relax, receive, reconnect to yourself, and remember the most important thing of all, why you're here. I'm Asia Suler, author, intuitive, teacher, and business owner now for going on 14 years. And in this episode today, I want to talk about this reframe, this revelation that helps me profoundly in my business and continues to be a guiding star for me as I continue to evolve in my business and evolve in my journey as an entrepreneur. And that is this reframe of your business being your spirit guide. So I first started my business when I was in my early 20s. And at the time, I had just moved through some pretty deep experiences with chronic pain. I was also moving into other experiences with chronic illness. And the spiritual world, my spiritual world, was opening exponentially. And I was having experiences of dreams that were precognitive, that were helping me navigate my life. I was having downloads. I was experiencing visitations from beings that I later identified as spirit guides and as angels. And when the dictate came in, when the request came in, the invitation for me to start a business, I thought, I do not want to do that. I do not want to do that. It's going to take me away from my spiritual journey. It is going to be a whole lot of work. I don't know the first thing about being an entrepreneur. It hadn't been something that I had been dreaming about as a kid. Like, it wasn't one of those things that was on the vision board. And I remember when I started my business is when I also really first started talking to my spirit guides, getting familiar with the concept of spirit guides. So if you are unfamiliar with this concept, spirit guides are beings in the non-physical world who support and guide us through life. So your spirit guides can be ancestors, people who've passed and are living on the other side. They can be angels. They can be ascended masters. We are not doing this life alone. There are spirit guides for us that are here to help us stay on our path and on our journey. And that's what spirit guides ultimately do, is they help us. They remind us of the agreements that we made when we came into this lifetime. They help us as we continue to navigate life and choose the paths that our soul came here to experience. Spirit guides help us in our path of growth. They help us follow the blueprint of what our own soul laid out for us as we began this lifetime. And so in this way, when we are stuck or we're in a moment where we need help or we feel like the way forward is obscured, we can ask for help from our spirit guides. They will come, they will help us through dreams, through intuitions, through nudges. And it took me a little while to realize this, but once I did, it changed everything about how I interacted with my business. My business was my spirit guide, and your business is too. So in the world that we live in, we often view our vocation as the place in which we give our sacred gifts. Now, this is not always true. We give gifts in all corners of our life and all aspects of what we do and give, and in mothering and parenting and in the friendships and the relationships that we tend and the way we interact with people and the art that we create. But in the systems and the paradigms that we live in, we often see vocation, our work, as the place where we bring our soul's gifts. So because of this, I believe business holds a really special place in the pantheon of our spirit guides, in our consciousness, as a vehicle to help us evolve and to help us grow. Business has its own consciousness. From an animistic perspective, everything on earth is animated by its own consciousness and sentience. And so your business does too. Your business, whatever it is that you create, whether it's a piece of art, it's a beautiful cake, whatever it is, everything has its own consciousness, and so does your business. Think about how much energy and effort and time and love you pour into your business. How could it not be its own entity with its own consciousness? And what I have found through the years of going from a totally reluctant entrepreneur to someone who has completely embraced being an entrepreneur, who has, built a 6-figure business with a team that supports me and helps me make my biggest, grandest visions possible. What I have learned is that business as a spirit guide is a consciousness that you can interact with, you can speak to. And often what I find is that the business, this overarching consciousness, is evolving faster than I am. And so it will continuously communicate and tell me where it is I should go next. And what I find interesting and annoying, but interesting, is that on our path of growth, the way that we continue to grow and evolve is that we come up against our blocks. We see what it is that's blocking us. I don't think anything has unblocked me more radically than the process of starting and maintaining a business, because it is such an expression of my soul and of my soul's path. My business brought me up against all of the hardest patterns that were ruling and ruining my life. And what we need to remember with this is that when we have stuff come up inside of our business, it's not a sign we shouldn't do it. It's not a sign that, we weren't built for this or made for this, or that this is not meant to be. It's a sign that this is part of our soul's evolution and that we are evolving through meeting and recognizing these blocks. So for me, I really had to face the ways in which busyness was a trauma response for me. My constant, need to be busy, to always be getting something done. And, I had this story running, especially in the early years of my business, where I really felt like I wasn't choosing this. Like it was just, this is just what it took to run a business, that it was all going to be this hard. It was all going to be this harrowing, that I was, of course, going to have these breakdowns in my health and my well-being working this hard, because that's what it takes to create a business. And what my business showed me actually is that when I stopped working from this place of, busyness as a trauma response, when I gave myself permission to rest more, when I gave myself permission to follow what I was really excited about in life, that's when my business took off. And so my business was mirroring to me where I was at in my nervous system, in my own growth. And in this way, it really was this sacred mirror that helped me see the patterns that didn't work and change them. In the beginning of starting my business, I was pretty afraid of being seen as too out there, too woo-woo. And so I stuck to the things I thought would sell. I made tinctures for sleep and aphrodisiacs and tinctures for relaxation and teas for unwinding at the end of a long day. Things that felt safe, things that felt, people say they want all the time. And my business did okay. At the time I had an apothecary called One Willow Apothecaries. But it was only when I started doing the thing that really called to me, which was making flower essences, which was making these more energetic or vibrational blends with flowers and stones and stories behind them, that my business took off. And it showed me, it was a direct mirror showing me exactly where I was supposed to grow in this lifetime, exactly what I was supposed to do next, exactly where I was blocking my own essential energy and self from coming through. Business will show you. It will show you the places in which you are doubting your worthiness, you're doubting your enoughness. It will help you dissolve perfectionism. It will help you step into the true flow that works for your energy. And this is, I think, one of the hardest things that we can do in the modern world is step away from the paradigms of work that we've been handed and step into what actually works for our own selves, our own energy, our own nervous systems. This is an absolute part of what we do in my class, Business as a Spiritual Journey, is really recognizing what works for you as a sensitive and an empath and someone who either wants to start a business or who is already a business owner, because we work different, we operate different, we move differently, we have different kinds of energy. And the cool thing is that your business is already teaching you all of that. It's just about having the tools to be able to receive that message, to communicate with your business. So since our vocation in the world at this time is a place of sacred encounter, know that just by choosing to have a business, you are choosing to work with a spiritual teacher. And the spiritual teacher is here to help you evolve. It's here to help you remember who you are. It's here to help you on your life path, on this path of your soul's own unfoldment. So maybe you are getting the call right now to start a business and it feels really big and really overwhelming, or maybe you're already on the path. You're already in the midst of your business. How do you know that a business is coming in and asking you to evolve? How do you know that this spirit guide is arriving for you now and that there is evolution on offer? Well, the first thing I'd say is that you'll probably feel some sort of friction or stagnancy, like where I'm at is just not working anymore. Like it is time to shift it up. And I have felt this so many times throughout my life, but throughout my business too. Like times where things just start feeling stale and I'm like, okay, like something else is supposed to change or something else is supposed to happen here. And sometimes this is reflected in you and in the kind of people who start interacting with your business, the kind of income that you're making or not making. All of these things will start to help you reflect and see in what ways am I being asked to grow here. You might be longing for a change, but you don't know what that change is yet. Your business can be a playground. It really can be a place where you experiment, where you play, where you try new things on. Ultimately, you know, because you often feel exhausted by doing it the old way. Like that old way is just not tenable anymore. And, you know, I have also been through so many iterations of this in my business. And over the past 14 years of having my business, a lot of things have changed. So I started out with a products business. I had One Willow Apothecaries. I sold my tinctures and teas and salves and honeys at farmers markets. And I went to conferences, and pretty soon after that, I started teaching. I started teaching, you know, just little one-off classes, and then eventually bridged into teaching larger groups, having longer programs, in-person programs, and then eventually retreat programs. Then I bridged into online teaching. I started online teaching now a decade ago, and the whole world has changed since that happened, but I've continued to taught online. I wrote my first book and released my first book. I started this podcast. I let go of the apothecary. So if you haven't been following my journey for very long, you may not know that over a year ago, Hurricane Helene came through the mountains here in Western North Carolina, and my apothecary was buried under 9 feet of water. And what was really powerful at that point, I had gone through so many iterations with the apothecary. I had really narrowed down what I was doing to, you know, this line of flower essences that really felt sustainable for me to create, that felt like still an offering for my soul. We had really dialed in the shipping and all of the sort of like brass tacks aspect of it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, even though I am not in the place right now where I am, you know, actively creating new flower essence lines or reinvesting a lot into the products business, I still love this part of my business, and I will keep this going as long as it is truly what's in alignment for my soul. And I said that to myself probably, like, I really had a moment after my daughter was born where I was, you know, asking myself, okay, do we like keep all these different facets of the business going, like the online teaching, the in-person teaching, the products-based business? And I really got this clear yes, like keep the products business open for as long as it serves you, for as long as it's still this expression of your soul. And I really was like, I completely trust that. I completely trust that. When it's time, I'll know. When it's time, I'll know. And I kept saying that to myself. Because ultimately, you know, having a products business, there's a lot of overhead. It's a lot of, you know, you have to have the space, you have to have the bottles, you have to have the packaging, you have to have help to do the packaging, you know, all the brass tacks of having a products based business. And so I said to myself, when it's time, I'll know. And then it was time. The river rose, you know, to 27 feet. It flooded 9 feet into my apothecary. Everything was buried in the mud and in the flood. And I knew in that moment there was this voice inside of me that said, it's time to let go. And what's been really cool on the other side of this experience, even though the direct experience was really hard and really painful and full of a lot of grief, but what's been interesting on the other side is that even through letting that go, even something that was so streamlined and something I still loved, but through listening to the own spirit guide, the spirit guide that is my business, I listened to the new energy that wanted to come forth. I made space for that new energy by letting go. My business has taught me so much over this time, all the different iterations that I've gone through. When I had my child and I took an extended break from working within the business so I could be a mother, so I could go back to the business, but still only work part-time. I'm so amazed that I've been able to do that. Like I'm the breadwinner of our family and I only work part-time so I can be home with my daughter the other part of that time. And that's huge for me. That's enormous. That all came about through listening to the guide of my business. This past year in 2025, I also took a sabbatical. I took 5 months completely off of work to work on my next book, to help transition my daughter into her school, into her preschool. And it was so profound for me. I never thought I'd be able to do something like that. But all of these things become possible when you look to your business as a spiritual journey, when you acknowledge that the consciousness, the force of your business is its own kind of spirit guide. So with that, let's do a quick exercise so you can drop into meeting the spirit guide of your business. So wherever you are, I just invite you to let yourself soften here, maybe just getting 5% softer, 5% more present and more comfortable in this moment, whatever micro movements you need to do in order to do that. And if you're in a place where you could do so, you could let your eyes close, or you could simply turn your awareness inwards. And as you turn your awareness inwards and you feel your breath deepening and you feel yourself sinking and softening into that 5% more relaxed space, I invite you here from this space to call with your heart and ask for the spirit guide of your business to appear to you. And I want you to allow whoever shows up here or whatever shows up here to just be. What is the first image or feeling or sensation that came into your mind here? It might be a person, it might be a deity, it might be an animal, it might be a stone or a facet of the landscape. Just see them arrive here now and start to notice how their energy resonates with your own body, how their energy resonates with what you know of your own business. That it's almost like their energy is actually helping you feel your business's energy even more. And as you take 3 deep breaths, I want you to just allow this energy to soak into your own body and your own field. This energy that is so healing for you, that is here to support you in your own unfolding. And as you're breathing here, you might notice more details about this guide who came in, perhaps what they look like. Maybe there's a sound associated with them here. Is there a scent as you're interacting with them? Or maybe there's a tactile sensation that you can feel. But as you make contact with this guide in this moment, I invite you now to ask one thing and know that it's possible in this moment, in this small container, this moment of meeting, it's possible to receive an answer. And this question is, what is one thing I can let go of? Asking the spirit guide of your business, the spirit guide that is your business, what is one thing I can let go of? And just notice what immediately comes in. Receiving whatever it is they're saying or transmitting or showing you. And when you're ready, asking one other follow-up question. What is one leap I can take now? What is one leap that I should take in this moment? Allowing that answer now to come in whatever form it chooses, through words or imagery or sensation or simple knowing. And now, before you close out this experience, just take a moment to thank your business, thank this guide, thank them for showing up. Thank you for the wisdom and the insight you received in this moment. Know that you can return to this visualization at any time. The spirit guide, that is your business, is here for you always. You can check in with them. They will guide you. They will help you. And now, as you're coming back, just feel your body once more and maybe notice if that 5% has deepened in any way, if you feel even softer or more relaxed in this moment, or simply more connected to your center. So, whether or not you had an experience in that short little meditation, know that you have the ability to communicate with your spirit guide. You can return to this meditation at any time. You can set the stage. You can create an altar. You can ask for your business to come communicate with you. You can communicate with this oversoul, this consciousness, to make decisions in your business that really help you in your life, that help you in your unfoldment and your becoming. And if you would like to go deeper into this experience, if you are ready to expand your business, to birth your business into the world, to create a business that is sustainable for you as a sensitive, as an empath, as an intuitive, if you're ready to embrace business as the vehicle for soul evolution that it is, then definitely come join me in my course, Business as a Spiritual Journey. Embedded in this course is everything I've learned over the last 14 years of being a business owner and entrepreneur. Everything from how to run a launch, how to create a business that feels nourishing for your nervous system, how to write a book, create a podcast, how to get comfortable with marketing, how to find your voice, what kind of relationship works for you with social media, how to make contact, direct contact with the spirit guide of your business and find the soul group, the people you are truly here to serve. Because your gifts are incredibly important. There's a reason why you have been called to create a business. And it's not because you're here to toil. It's not because you're here to give it all away and receive nothing in return. It's because you're here to grow, you're here to evolve, and ultimately you are here to be supported in your growth and your evolution. And this is why your business came in, and this is what your business wants to do for you. So if you are interested, Business as a Spiritual Journey, my flagship business course, is on sale until January 29th. I've never run a sale this big on the course before. I have people tell me all the time how crazy affordable this course is, but I just feel really passionate about making this kind of support accessible for people so that they can create the business of their dreams, because the world really needs what you're here to create. If you sign up before the 29th, you also get access to 2 live events with me happening in February and March, where I will be asking your business questions live. So you can bring to me your questions, the things that are burning in your heart. You can talk to me about what's going on for you in your business, and I am here to support you in that. I'm also in the comments, moderating the comment section of the course. So you get so much support and access to so much helpful information, perspectives, guided meditations, PDF guides, audio classes, and videos. So this will be my 7th year running this course. I love seeing how people flourish through this program. And over that time, we have gotten so much incredible positive feedback, like Kendra Hoffman of Ladybug Earth Care, who wrote, "I've recommended this to many friends, and I always say that I've spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on business courses, mentors, programs, and classes, but this is by far the best content and wisdom I've ever received on the subject, worth every penny." Thank you, Kendra. That means so much. Or Kat Shepard of Sea Shepherd Arts wrote, I have owned several versions of my own business for over 30 years. This has been one of the most helpful and enlightening journeys I've ever experienced for growing my business in my own way that has crossed my path. So come join this soul group. If you are feeling called, if you want this kind of level of support, enlightenment, perspective, and growth in your own business, then Business as a Spiritual Journey is here for you. You can head on over to my website to check that out, and I would love to journey with you there. So if you met your guide, if you met the spirit guide of your business in this meditation, or perhaps somewhere else, I would love to hear about it. You can leave a comment if you're watching or listening to this on a platform where there's comments, or you can head over to my website, asiasular.com/remember, and leave me a voice message. I love to receive your voice messages. I love hearing from you, what's going on in your world and what you experience. So if you had some sort of experience with your spirit guide, the spirit guide of your business, I'd love to hear about it. What happened? And know that I am over here just sprinkling fairy dust over your businesses. Everything that you pour so much heart and love and time and effort and care into, it matters. It's important. It is changing the world. So much has changed in the last 14 years since I started my business. Like, I can't even express how much has changed in the world because of all the rapid innovations we're experiencing. And for me, that feels really positive, because what's changing here is that there's this possibility, there's even more possibility, there's even more expansion, there's even more resources for sensitives like you and I to create a business that's in alignment with us, to reach the people we're meant to reach, to have the kind of access to information and platforms and audiences that make it possible for us to do our soul's work in this lifetime. I actually think we're in a phase where it's more possible than ever to live out our soul's mission through something like our business. It's a really very cool and sacred opportunity and time right now. And so please know that all of the love and all of the effort and everything that you've poured into your business has meant so much to this world, will continue to mean so much to this world, and that the things that you're doing from your heart, from your soul's path, has ripples beyond your knowing. And as you continue to serve people and help people in all the ways that you do, may that same kind of love and support and benevolence float right back to you. May you be able to receive that. May you be able to see the impact you are making in this world simply by being yourself. And may it help you remember that most important thing of all, why you're here.